Did you know that in the final years of the Roman Empire, Emperor Honorius was more concerned with his pet chicken named Rome than the actual city of Rome being sacked by the Visigoths in 410 AD? Prosperity ripened the principle of decay. The cause of the destruction multiplied with the extent of conquest, and as soon as time or accident had removed the artificial supports, the stupendous fabric yielded to the pressure of its own weight. The story of the ruin is simple and obvious, and instead of inquiring why the Roman Empire was destroyed, we should rather be surprised that it had subsisted for so long. The Roman Emperor Commodus, like Trump, was entranced with his own vanity. He commissioned statues of himself as Hercules and had little interest in governance. He fancied himself a star of the arena, staging gladiatorial contests where he was crowned the victor and killing lions with a bow and arrow. The empire, he renamed Rome the Colonia Commodiana, colony of Commodus, was a vehicle to satiate his bottomless narcissism and lust for wealth. He sold public offices the way Trump sells pardons and favors to those who invest in his cryptocurrencies or donate to his inauguration committee or presidential library. Finally, the emperor's advisors arranged to have him strangled to death in his bath by a professional wrestler after he announced that he would assume the consulship dressed as a gladiator. But his assassination did nothing to halt the decline. Commodus was replaced by the reformer Pertinax, who was assassinated 3 months later. The Praetorian Guards auctioned off the office of emperor. The next emperor, Didius Julianus, lasted 66 days. There would be 5 emperors in AD 193, the year after the assassination of Commodus. Like the late Roman Empire, our republic is dead. Our constitutional rights, due process, habeas corpus, privacy, freedom from exploitation, fair elections and dissent, have been taken from us by judicial and legislative fiat. These rights exist only in name. The vast disconnect between the purported values of our faux democracy and reality means our political discourse, the words we use to describe ourselves in our political system, are absurd. The rule of the imbeciles, empires in decline. Throughout history, great empires have fallen not just due to external pressures, but often because of the incompetence and decadence of their rulers. This video explores how the rule of imbeciles has contributed to the decline of civilizations, from ancient Rome to modern times. The last days of dying empires are dominated by idiots. The Roman, Mayan, French, Habsburg, Ottoman, Romanov, Iranian, and Soviet dynasties crumbled under the stupidity of their decadent rulers who absented themselves from reality, plundered their nations, and retreated into echo chambers where fact and fiction were indistinguishable. Donald Trump and the sycophantic buffoons in his administration are updated versions of the reigns of the Roman Emperor Nero, who allocated vast state expenditures to attain magical powers. The Chinese Emperor Qin Shi Huang, who funded repeated expeditions to a mythical island of immortals to bring back a potion that would give him eternal life. An feckless czarist court that sat around reading tarot cards and attending seances as Russia was decimated by a war that consumed over 2 million lives and revolution brewed in the streets. In Hitler and the Germans, the political philosopher Erich Vogelin dismisses the idea that Hitler, gifted in oratory and political opportunism, but poorly educated and vulgar, mesmerized and seduced the German people. The Germans, he writes, supported Hitler and the grotesque marginal figures surrounding him because he embodied the pathologies of a diseased society, one beset by economic collapse and hopelessness. Vogelin defines stupidity as a loss of reality. The loss of reality means a stupid person cannot rightly orient his action in the world in which he lives. The demagogue, who is always an idiot, is not a freak or social mutation. The demagogue expresses the society's zeitgeist, its collective departure from a rational world of verifiable fact. These idiots who promise to recapture lost glory and power do not create, they only destroy, they accelerate the collapse. Limited in intellectual ability, lacking any moral compass, grossly incompetent and filled with rage at established elites who they see as having slighted and rejected them, they remake the world into a playground for grifters, con artists, and megalomaniacs. They make war on universities, banish scientific research, peddle quack theories about vaccines as a pretext to expand mass surveillance and data sharing, strip legal residents of their rights, and empower armies of goons, which is what the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, has become, to spread fear and ensure passivity. Reality, whether the climate crisis or the immiseration of the working class, does not impinge on their fantasies. The worse it gets, the more idiotic they become. Hannah Arendt blames a society that willingly embraces radical evil on this collective thoughtlessness. Desperate to escape from the stagnation, where they and their children are trapped, hopeless and in despair, a betrayed population is conditioned to exploit everyone around them in a desperate scramble to advance. People are objects to be used, mirroring the cruelty inflicted by the ruling class. A society convulsed by disorder and chaos, as Voegelin points out, celebrates the morally degenerate, those who are cunning, manipulative, deceitful, and violent. In an open democratic society, these attributes are despised and criminalized. Those who exhibit them are condemned as stupid. A man or woman who behaves in this way, Voegelin notes, will be socially boycotted. But the social, cultural, and moral norms in a diseased society are inverted. The attributes that sustain an open society, a concern for the common good, honesty, trust, and self-sacrifice, are ridiculed. They are detrimental to existence in a diseased society. When a society, as Plato notes, abandons the common good, it always unleashes amoral lusts, violence, greed, and sexual exploitation, and fosters magical thinking, the focus of my book, Empire of Illusion, The End of Literacy and the Triumph of Spectacle. The only thing these dying regimes do well is spectacle. These bread and circuses acts, like Trump's $40 million army parade to be held on his birthday on June 14th, keep a distressed population entertained. The Disneyfication of America, the land of eternally happy thoughts and positive attitudes, the land where everything is possible, is peddled to mask the cruelty of economic stagnation and social inequality. The population is conditioned by mass culture, dominated by sexual commodification, banal and mindless entertainment, and graphic depictions of violence, to blame itself for failure. Søren Kierkegaard, in The Present Age, warns that the modern state seeks to eradicate conscience and shape and manipulate individuals into a pliable and indoctrinated public. This public is not real. It is, as Kierkegaard writes, a monstrous abstraction, an all-embracing something which is nothing, a mirage. In short, we became part of a herd, unreal individuals who never are and never can be united in an actual situation or organization, and yet are held together as a whole. Those who question the public, those who denounce the corruption of the ruling class, are dismissed as dreamers, freaks, or traitors. But only they, according to the Greek definition of the polis, can be considered citizens. Thomas Paine writes that a despotic government is a fungus that grows out of a corrupt civil society. This is what happened to past societies. It is what happened to us. It is tempting to personalize the decay, as if ridding ourselves of Trump will return us to sanity and sobriety. But the rot and corruption has ruined all of our democratic institutions, which function in form, not in content. The consent of the governed is a cruel joke. Congress is a club on the take from billionaires and corporations. The courts are appendages of corporations and the rich. The press is an echo chamber of the elites, some of whom do not like Trump, but none of whom advocate the social and political reforms that could save us from despotism. It is about how we dress up despotism, not despotism itself. The historian Ramsay MacMullen, in Corruption and the Decline of Rome, writes that what destroyed the Roman Empire was the diverting of governmental force, its misdirection. Power became about enriching private interests. This misdirection renders government powerless, at least as an institution that can address the needs and protect the rights of the citizenry. Our government, in this sense, is powerless. It is a tool of corporations, banks, the war industry, and oligarchs. It cannibalizes itself to funnel wealth upwards. The decline of Rome was the natural and inevitable effect of immoderate greatness, Edward Gibbon writes. The decline of empires under incompetent leadership reveals a cyclical pattern in history. As societies reach their peak, they often become complacent, allowing narcissistic and short-sighted leaders to rise to power. This pattern of decline is not just a historical curiosity, but a warning for modern societies. The parallels between ancient Rome and contemporary global powers are striking, from the erosion of democratic institutions to the spectacle-driven politics. The key takeaway is that societal decay often starts from within. When a society values entertainment over education, spectacle over substance, and personal gain over collective well-being, it creates an environment ripe for exploitation by incompetent leaders. Moreover, the rule of imbeciles is not just about the leaders themselves, but also about the systems that allow them to thrive. When checks and balances fail, when media becomes an echo chamber, and when citizens become disengaged, incompetence can flourish unchecked. The significance of this pattern extends beyond politics. It affects economic stability, social cohesion, and even technological progress. Societies that fail to address internal decay risk falling behind in an increasingly competitive global landscape. However, understanding this cycle also provides hope. By recognizing the signs of decay, societies can take proactive measures to reinforce their institutions, promote education, and foster engaged citizenship, the true safeguards against the rule of imbeciles. What do you think about the parallels between ancient empires and modern societies? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video intriguing, dive deeper into the topic by exploring works like Edward Gibbon's The History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, or Ramsay MacMullen's Corruption and the Decline of Rome. Thank you for watching this exploration of the rule of imbeciles and the decline of empires. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more thought-provoking historical analyses.